Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the two-wave cycle methodology when it comes to wave management. So what better way to start than by exposing what the average person's solo queue experience looks like when it comes to wave management. Now this was I believe Emerald, Diamond, somewhere around there, wave player. And they've been learning wave and trying to get better at their laning. And they sent me this little bit of a clip to see, or to ask, basically what was going wrong, right? And so a lot of people's hypothesis when it comes to favorable matchups, and especially mage v mage matchups, is shove, right? You want to get the shove, you want to make the enemy react to waves, you want to get the level 2 first. And so this is typically what you hear from a lot of people, a lot of coaches saying, you got to get the wave control, you got to get the wave control, you got to get the minion advantage. And yes, there is some truth to that. But the way you get wave control and the way you get shove has a massive impact on the effectiveness of this strategy. So typically what you see is something along these lines, whereby they just permanently shove, constantly shove the wave. Now, look, we're looking at it through Hui's lens here, whereby he's constantly QEing the wave. You might see this with Lux's constantly Eing the wave, Xerath's constantly Qing the wave, Victor's constantly Eing the wave. The same premise exists, whereby what actually happens is that the wave just permanently sits in this awkward little pocket right outside Syndra's tower. And so this is going to make us more vulnerable to ganks. It's actually going to be harder for us to poke down the Syndra because we're not really able to stack any waves, and we don't really have any room to maneuver. And so as you can see here, the Hui in this case is just constantly QEing the wave. And so the Hui is now in this really weird position whereby they're thinking to themselves, well, didn't I hear somewhere that I should be shoving in these mage v mage matchups? Isn't this what I should be doing? Why does it not feel good? Right now, we're not really going to be talking about, getting hit by too many skill shots and all that stuff. We're just really looking at the wave management specifically. But again, what ends up happening is that the wave's just parked in this awkward spot. And then this leaves us very vulnerable to ganks, in which case Skarner comes by. And then we end up, I think, Burning Flash and or dying to this gank. So this is kind of what I typically see with a lot of clients. Now let's move into what should we be doing with waves and what does this two-wave cycle methodology actually look like. So we'll start with one of my recent gameplay examples. This is me playing Hui into an Azir. Now, what I do here, and what a lot of Huis would have done, is even on this minion wave right here, they would have actually just QE'd the wave to shove, because they're in a pretty commanding position. But no, what do? I bring the wave back out into the middle. And now notice how this gives me way much more room, a lot more room to maneuver. Now, I've still secured the minion advantage. I've still hit the first minion, and I've still got, a 5 to 6 minion advantage here. We'll excuse the missed QQs. But as you can see now, notice how I'm not hard shoving. I'm not permanently shoving the wave. Now this puts a lot of pressure on the on the Azir. It gives me a lot more room to maneuver. And most importantly, allows me to stack 2 waves instead of just the one singular wave. Now the next wave now arrives. Now I hard shove this wave. And so basically, the way the two-wave cycle kind of methodology works is that you want to be thinking of waves in terms of not hard shoving one wave, but hard shoving the second wave. So shove, bring the wave out, get it back into the middle, and then shove the next wave. This gives you more minions to work with. If you do choose to poke under tower, it gives you more minions to actually work with under tower. It gives you, if we go back, it gives you more room to actually maneuver when it comes to trades, more flexibility with your trading patterns, and actually gives you more safety from ganks, because now, if the wave's back in neutral state, I'm less overextended, and the wave's not just parked in this awkward little position. It's only temporarily in that position, but oftentimes by the time the wave's in this position, you've got a stacked wave. And then the most important thing with this methodology is that you make sure that you hard shove this second wave that arrives, and then you can go off and do whatever it is you want to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example of this being executed. So this is me doing the same strategy into a LeBlanc. So notice how I'm not mindlessly shoving this wave. I'm letting the wave come back out into neutral state. I'm trimming it, right? So I'm trying to get the minion advantage still because, again, I want to slow build into the enemy. But now I have a lot more room to maneuver. I can heavy lean onto one side. And the LeBlanc in this case is forced to walk up a little bit further and actually has to overextend deeper into the lane if they want to contest minions. And so now, as the wave is starting to stack up a little bit, now as the next wave arrives, now I can actually continue to hard shove the next wave. Again, this is going to give me more flexibility to poke under tower. It's going to give me more time if I want a tempo reset. It's going to give me more safety from ganks. I've got more minions to work with here. It literally makes every single thing better. And now I can do whatever the hell I want. I could reset here. I could invade. I could roam. I could poke under tower. I could do whatever the hell I want. This is a very clean example. Now, just to, I guess, go back here just a little bit just to really, I guess, look at the execution. The key here, there's a few important key details. Number one, when this wave meets in neutral, I do want to hit the wave a little bit. I don't want to overshove it. I don't want to QE it or anything like that, but I just want to trim it a little bit. This is what's going to give me that minion advantage. And notice how I'm trying to posture up aggressively as well to prevent them from trimming the wave too much as well. And if they were to, let's say LeBlanc were to try and, over trim the wave or go for a W on the wave or whatever, then I have that room to actually chase them down and punish them on the back end. Whereas if I were to hard shove this wave and the wave meets here and LeBlanc uses W on the wave, I have no room to maneuver. I have no room to actually punish this LeBlanc because you should be right actually under a tower. And so here what I've done is I've created that bit of a slight minion lead. I'm posturing up nice and aggressively to get up into LeBlanc's face. And then as the next wave is arriving, if we fast forward a little bit here, I start to ramp up my shoving. And then boom, as soon as the next wave arrives, instantaneously QE, so the wave now definitively crashes. And now again, I'm free to do whatever I want. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. So let's go ahead and take a look at Chovy doing this. Chovy is the master of this strategy. So Chovy is playing Zeri into a Yone in this particular instance, poking the Yone under tower. Now, a common mistake, again, what you would see, especially in the AD carry meta, is just constantly hard shoving one waves. You see this actually a lot, sorry to kind of interject here, but you see this a lot with Tristana players. One of the main reasons you actually saw the Tristana win rate drop down so much after the nerfs was actually not because Tristana's weak, but in reality, the people that didn't know how to play Tristana got exposed. Tristana, in reality, in order to have success with Tristana, is you need to actually shove in 2 wave cycles. You let the wave come out back into neutral state and then you shove again. What a lot of bad Tristana players were doing were just permanently shoving 1 wave. If you're playing AD carry mid, this strategy is even more important. So anyway, back to the example. Chovy's poking under tower. Now notice what Chovy does here. He doesn't hard shove this wave. He's just trimming. He doesn't want to overshove. He doesn't want to undershove, because here, if he actually respects too much, if he were to sit back all the way over here and not trim the wave at all, then you actually give the Yone the ability to slow build off the bounce, and then Yone is going to get the minion advantage and then do a slow stack into us, which is not really what we want. We want to bring the wave back out a little bit and then again, make sure we're slow building waves into them. So Chovy's trimming the wave nicely, posturing up nice and aggressively here as well, getting in the Yone's face. Notice how again, we're not hard shoving. Now that we've got the wave in a beautiful little position, now starting to get a bit of a minion advantage, now the next wave is arriving. So this is where typically you will see the damage on the wave ramping up a little bit. And as you can see, hard shoving now this wave. This gives us a nice little minion advantage. Again, makes it harder for us to get ganked because we've got more minions to work with. Trades are going to be easier as well because we have that minion advantage. And then we can look to do whatever we want, whether it's poke under tower, whether it's reset. We have a lot of options. So this is, again, a classic clean example from Chovy doing a 2-wave cycle. Here is another example from Chovy. You're actually seeing the 2-wave cycle from the get-go, from level 1. So Chovy does a bit of I guess, a unique contest level 1 from the side into this Azir, forcing the Azir to use soldiers in awkward positions away from the wave, utilizing our fleet sustain and a bit of a range advantage. Now, instead of, again, hard shoving, look what Chovy does here. Recognizes that he already has the minion advantage, slows down the shove a little bit, waits for the next wave to arrive, and now, on this wave, that's where you'll start to see the hard shoving, because we don't want the wave to be stuck in Narnia in this really awkward position outside of Azir's tower. We want to make sure that this wave definitively crashes. And this is going to make it a lot easier for us to, again, A, utilize our level 2 advantage because we have room to maneuver, and B, again, actually poke and make this Azir sweat for CS under tower. So AD carry mid specifically are actually very, very good at doing this. But again, any favorable matchup, especially if you're in the, a mage v mage matchup where you can guarantee the level 2 first, is an incredibly effective technique. Here is another example of one of our fellow MLA coaches, Tim Mysterious, where he's playing LeBlanc. I believe it was into a Syndra. Waves in neutral state. Now notice how, again, he's not hard shoving this one wave. He's posturing up nice and aggressively, making it very difficult for Syndra to actually get access to the wave. This way, we're actually able to deny CS. Not the XP, but just actually the last hits. And this is going to give us a beautiful stack, 2-stack. And again, when we're playing champions like LeBlanc, we can use this stack to either roam. We can use this stack to complement our jungler. We can use it to get a reset. There's a lot of options we have here. Now notice here, on this wave, we definitively crash it and make sure it actually lands under tower. Boom, and now we can do whatever we want. In this case, Tim actually went and decided to roam topside, I believe, off this 2-stack here. And this gives us a lot of flexibility to do so. So I guess to summarize, instead of doing this permanent hard shove, keeping the wave in this really awkward position under the tower, try the 2-wave cycle. Bring the wave back out into neutral state, And rather than slamming waves over and over and over again, try thinking of waves in these 2 wave cycles. This is going to make everything easier. Trading, warding windows, resetting, poking under tailway, literally everything is going to be easier. So give it a crack, see how it feels for you. And if it feels great, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around for another video. Cheers.